I am able to dig through a lot of the forgotten corners of the internet, old blogs, archive pages, sites that stopped uploading years ago. Sometimes those places hold stories that were never really finished. Hello and welcome to OPCODE Witch. I'll be your operator today, Elise. Let's get into the story. Most of the time, when someone's filming in public, you don't think much of it. It's vloggers and all of this. People record everything now. Food reviews, travel videos, coffee shops, all this type of thing. It all kind of blends together into the background. But every once in a while, you come across something where somebody notices the same person filming again and again in places they probably shouldn't be. And eventually, you start to wonder if the camera was ever meant for what it looked like it was filming. Our story today comes from a small blog written by a man named Miguel. At first, it reads like a completely normal travel blog from Valencia, Spain. Just little updates about life, restaurants, cafes, places he visited around the city. But eventually, Miguel starts writing about something his girlfriend Lisa kept noticing. A woman with a camera, and the uncomfortable feeling that the camera wasn't really pointed at the food. Miguel wrote that the whole thing started at a Burger King. I recognize that's a little strange, but it did begin there. Lisa stopped there after work one evening. She worked as a supervisor at a nearby high school, and it had been a long day. While she was eating, she noticed someone a few tables away. A woman holding a large DSLR camera. That alone wasn't very strange, but the way she looked stood out to Lisa. Miguel described her as having stringy hair, wearing dull clothing, and sitting very still while she filmed the food on the table in front of her. Lisa mentioned it to Miguel later that night. They both assumed the same thing. Probably a food vlogger. Miguel even joked about it in the blog. He wrote something like, "Food vloggers are really committed these days." At the time, the explanation seemed reasonable, but Lisa would see the woman again. A few days later, Lisa went to Starbucks. She had brought her laptop to catch up on some work after school hours. It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon, but when she looked across the cafe, she saw the same woman again. The camera appeared to be filming the food on the table. Coffee cups, a pastry, a sandwich. But Lisa noticed something that made her uncomfortable. Every once in a while, the camera would move slightly. Not much, just enough that the lens seemed to drift towards Lisa's table, then back to the food again. Miguel wrote that Lisa couldn't tell if she was imagining it, but the feeling stayed with her, and later that night she told Miguel something that stuck with him. She said it felt like the woman wasn't filming her food. She said it felt like the woman was filming her. A few days after that, Lisa saw the woman again. Miguel wrote that this time it happened at the same Burger King where everything had started. Lisa almost didn't notice her at first, but then she saw the camera sitting on the table across the room. It was already recording. At first, Lisa assumed the woman was doing the same thing as before, filming food. But when she looked more closely, something about the scene didn't make sense. The tray on the table was already empty. Not just mostly eaten, completely finished. There were crumpled burger wrappers, an empty fry container, a drink cup with the lid pushed in. Nothing looked fresh. It looked like someone had already finished the meal and left, and the woman with the camera was still sat there filming it. Miguel wrote that Lisa watched for several minutes. The woman never touched the tray, never rearranged anything, never spoke. She just kept the camera pointed at the empty wrappers, quietly recording. Lisa told Miguel later that it made her feel strange, because if someone was filming food, they would film it before eating it, right? Not so. She recalled that the camera held by the woman would tilt slightly, just enough that the edge of the frame seemed to shift towards Lisa's table. Then it would drift back to the tray again. Miguel wrote, "This was the moment Lisa became convinced the woman wasn't filming the food at all. The tray was just something for the camera to point at." Over the next several days, Miguel kept updating the blog. Lisa kept seeing the woman, different places, but always somewhere involving food or restaurants, always with the same camera. Miguel admitted in one of his posts that Lisa seemed increasingly anxious about the situation. He was worried. He described her behavior as erratic, even a little crazed. But Lisa insisted something was wrong. She believed the woman wasn't just visiting the same restaurants by coincidence. She believed the woman was following her very own routine. If she wanted to go to the Burger King near her school, the woman would be there, filming her own vlog or whatever it was. If she wanted to go to the Starbucks, the woman would be there, filming her own vlog or whatever it was. Eventually, Lisa decided she was going to prove it. She told Miguel she was going back to the initial Burger King again. If the woman was really following her, she would be there. According to Miguel's final blog entry, Lisa arrived, but this time the restaurant looked completely normal. No camera, no woman. Lisa even walked around inside of the building. Nothing. For a moment, Miguel thought the whole situation might finally be over. But later that night, Lisa told him something that changed everything. When she walked out to her car, she saw someone standing in the parking lot. Not near the entrance, just standing, the same woman holding the camera. Lisa said the lens was pointed directly at her. And as she drove away, the woman took photos of the car leaving the parking lot. That was the last time Miguel ever posted. When I first read Miguel's blog, that's where the story ended. But something about it made me curious. So I went back and looked through some of his earlier posts. Posts he had written weeks before Lisa ever mentioned the woman. And in one of the photos from a cafe, there's someone sitting in the background. It's easy to miss at first, but when you look closely, there's a woman sitting alone at a table, and she's holding a camera. The hair looks the same, the clothing looks the same, and the camera appears to be pointed towards Miguel's table, which means Lisa might not have been the first person to notice her. She may have been the first person to realize that she was there. Miguel never mentioned the woman in those earlier posts. He probably didn't even notice her. But after the parking lot incident, Miguel stopped posting. And so did Lisa. No updates, no explanations. Just an unfinished blog and one photograph where someone in the background appears to be quietly filming. Most likely, there's a normal explanation for all of this. Someone filming food, someone sitting in the background, someone wearing some gray clothes. We all can put on a black hoodie. I know how that goes. But when the same person keeps appearing in places where they shouldn't be, it makes you wonder how long they actually been there. Thank you very much for tuning in. I have been your operator, Elise. And remember, that dark corner in the ceiling of your bedroom, make sure to check it before you go to sleep. There's probably nothing up there, but maybe there is.